The trade embargoes against Cuba must be lifted, as it is inhuman to punish a nation for taking different ideological leaning with regard to how they run their society. The Cubans helped us fight for our liberation in Africa. They continue to help the whole world with quality health care interventions, and they don't send soldiers to go and bombard other people's nations. They send doctors to go and save life and make sure that our people receive their primary health care. We are calling for an end to ideologically inspired sanctions by nations in the West that are used as a tool to undermine the sovereignty of nations in the global South and Africa. We call for lifting of sanctions in Zimbabwe, not that we agree with the people, with the government of Zimbabwe or the president of Zimbabwe, but it is the people, the ordinary people of Zimbabwe, who are suffering under these sanctions. And we want the sanctions lifted, and we want the people of Zimbabwe, particularly those who are in South Africa, to return back to Zimbabwe and make their own determination as to how they want their country to succeed. But that country will never succeed under the sanctions. Africa has been independent for more than 60 years, yet we experience challenges of development even after 6 years of independence. The Western countries cannot live without African continent, using our fellow African brothers to destroy ourselves. We want peace in Mali and welcome the dropping of French as an official language in Mali. That is one progressive movement. Doesn't mean French cannot be spoken, but to say we have conquered the imperialists and colonizers and continue to have their languages as official languages is self-imprisonment. We call for peace in the land of Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, who paid the price of his own blood by the coup orchestrated by the Western. We call for peace in Sudan and reconciliation of the Sudanese people, who are tired to see the silence of the international community towards the continuous bloodshed in the eastern DRC. The Western countries supporting some neighboring countries in DRC to destabilize the eastern DRC. We shouldn't find it exciting that African countries can fight amongst themselves with ease, especially fighting around territorial expansions. Africa is one country, it's not even a continent. These borders we see and we experience here in our continent were imposed on us by the imperialists. No African brother should derive pleasure out of killing other African people. We say this because we are advocating for one Africa with one currency, with one legislature, with one military and one president, because we believe that these small pockets of countries are the ones that make international communities undermine Africa.
We enjoy when an African child thrives and succeed. That's what we're here for, to inspire confidence in Niger against the French, to inspire confidence in Burkina Faso, to inspire confidence in Mali, to inspire confidence in the whole of African continent and the diaspora, where black people who lost hope look at the EFF and say, African child, it is possible. That is the type of an organization we are, and we seek to be going forward. The troubles facing our continent and the need for the EFF to spread across the continent in order to rescue Africa from degeneration and exploitation.
People of the world, please be aware, EFF is your friend if you are part of the progressive forces of the world. Today we've got ambassadors here who have joined our celebrations. Yesterday we had a dinner with them when we told them without being ashamed that we are with the people of Palestine, we are with the people of Eswatini, we are with the people of Sahrawi, and we are not with Morocco, we are not with Israel, we are not with NATO, we are not with USA, because those are enemies of progress. Comrades, we want to make a call in Kenya, especially to Comrade Raila Odinga. Stop doing what you are doing. Do not disrupt Kenya. We need peace in Kenya. The President, William Ruto, was democratically elected in Kenya. I will not allow you to use the people of Kenya to destabilize the peace of Kenya. We say to President Mnangagwa, stop disrupting the peace of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is going to election. Allow the Zimbabweans to make their choice in a democratic manner without any form of intimidation. Comrades, we want peace in Ethiopia. We want peace in the DRC. Comrades, we want to make sure that BRICS is strengthened, and BRICS is an alternative to Europe and America. We are with President Putin, and we want to say to President Putin, it is not us South Africans who refused you from coming into the country. It is Ramaphosa, the coward Ramaphosa, who could not guarantee that we will not arrest Putin. We are Putin, and Putin is us, and we will never support imperialism against President Putin. Comrades, America is threatening us with African Growth and Opportunity Act that if we don't arrest Putin, they are going to take away AGOA. They can take away AGOA and leave us with our sovereignty and leave us with our foreign policy. We must have the capacity to take a decision of our own. We call on the President of the People's Republic of China, India and Brazil not to come to BRICS summit in solidarity with President Putin. They must say, you touch one of us, you touch all of us. Comrades, we need to be loyal to the discipline of our organization. Comrades, we must refuse to be part of the Commonwealth. There is nothing common about the Commonwealth except that we're all colonized by Britain. As a revolutionary party that is going to take over South Africa next year, we are going to leave the Commonwealth. We will not be dictated by IMF, will not be dictated by the World Bank, will be dictated to by the people of South Africa. We want to say to Commandant Fidel Castro that we stand with the Cubans and they remain an anchor of our struggle for socialism across the world. We need peace and to silence the guns in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Sudan. We need to openly, as a glorious movement, say that another African must never enjoy seeing a blood of another African. What is happening in Eastern DRC is highly unacceptable, where more than 12,000 people are killed and the world is not saying anything. We need peace in the Eastern DRC. Comrades, we don't have to fight over expanding territories into Mozambique, into Central African Republic, into Congo Brazzaville, into Zambia, including infiltrating Benin, because Africa is one. Why do you want to extend your territory as a country? For what? Because we want one Africa with one currency, with one military, with one judiciary, with one president of the United Republic of Africa. We need Africa to be bigger in order to fight all of these people. African on African violence must stop and must stop now. Dictators who are scared of democracy, please stop your nonsense now. Stop killing fellow Africans. South Africa and Africa, let's resolve everything peacefully.
We must, however, touch on some key international issues that require our attention, and first and foremost, we must speak about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It must be understood that as the EFF, we believe that the conflict between these two nations must be resolved, and it must be resolved peacefully. We want to make it categorically clear, however, that we believe the conflict arises because of NATO uncontrollable desire to infringe on the territorial integrity of Russia by setting up military capacity on its borders. That is the genesis of the conflict. It is the breaking of treaties that were adopted during the fall of the Soviet Union, and that must be condemned as much as we may condemn the war itself. We have noted the communication from Cyril Ramaphosa's office that Russia President Vladimir Putin will not attend the next month BRICS summit in South Africa. It is our understanding that President Putin's withdrawal is a consequence of South Africa state's reluctance to be firm on international affairs and their inability to resist pressure from NATO to arrest President Putin. South Africa is at the current stage led by an individual who cannot take a firm position on any matter, even if his life depends on it. We therefore want to caution all nations represented here today, especially members of BRICS, that South Africa is currently led by a spineless government that will never meaningfully take forward efforts to grow the strength of the global South and its allies. Any effort to fight against imperialism, the calls for de-dollarization, and for an alliance that will place BRICS nations on a stronger footing in the